So guys, I'm not getting real far on this. I'm finding that every time I want to remove a bolt, there's something else I got to take off. But I did crack this open, and you can see it somewhat. I've taken most of it out, but the bottom in here was just full of junk. So I'm gonna get that sprayed with some cleaner. I'm gonna spray up in here with some cleaner, clean these out, make sure that these are all clean. These really don't look that bad, but I'm gonna clean them up. But I'm really gonna downscale what it is I'm gonna do. I'm gonna crack this open. I think there's probably a diaphragm in there. I'm gonna crack it open and see what condition it's in. But man, I really don't want to dig into this any deeper than that. Maybe try to run some cleaner through it. I'm not sure. I'm gonna drop some of the oil too in the transmission, see what it looks like, but kind of looks like somebody else. I mean, those filters are new. Kind of looks like somebody else did some sort of maintenance on it, so we'll see. So guys, until I can figure out precisely what might be wrong with this tractor, I don't really want to go any deeper than this. I bought myself some parts cleaner. I'm gonna kind of try to get the dirt out of there, kind of clean in there, you know, clean the parts that I've taken apart, which is next to nothing. But I just don't want to just blindly dive into this any deeper. What I did do as well is I bought some engine treatment. So I'd like to run this through the fuel system first and see if it fixes the problem. So I'm gonna take the path of least work at the moment. So guys, I had to get this on film. I cracked this sucker open. It's got the little fuel, I don't know what you call it, like a diaphragm. There we go. So I cracked that open, and you can see a shit ton of that came out right in my lap. But it is in sad, sad shape. All rusted, all corroded, and screens are full. So, I'm gonna look into it further. I don't have a rebuild kit, so I might try to just clean it for now and order a rebuild kit, but pretty sure it ain't supposed to look like this. I'm gonna try to show you here what's coming out of it, if I can get it out. It doesn't want to come. It's all sorts of grit. So I'm going to pull this out. There's 2 screws there. Try to clean it up, clean the screen. I will order these parts, but for now I'm just going to put this back in there and go from there. So pulled one of these out. If anyone thinks that that might be a problem, I'm thinking possibly. Pretty corroded. So I'm gonna pull the other 2 out, get them all cleaned up, and put them back in. Yeah, it won't even focus. There we go. So I kind of dove into this a bit, took the back cap off, and took the this needle out. I don't know if it picks up very well, all that black corrosion on it. I've wiped some of it off, but very, very corroded. So I'm going to be cleaning the best I can inside these things. and get them put back together. Alright guys, so I got it all back together. Went to start the thing and it does not start. It does start and run as long as you're shooting starter fluid up the air vent, but it does not run. So interesting. I think what I'm gonna have to do is kind of rebuild the fuel system by those diaphragms. It's the only thing I can think of. Didn't really mess with anything else, but the diaphragm did look pretty bad. They're not supposed to be stiff, and this one was pretty stiff and cracked. So I think that's it until I can get some parts. So guys, I decided to take this unit, this fuel, I don't know what you'd refer to it as, injection pump, I really don't know. But I took it off, it's down there. I'm letting some diesel flow in there. Just so I can use it to clean it. But just not really sure which way to take this. Like I said, I started it and it did not run. I just don't know how in depth I want to go. To be honest, I feel like popping the head, taking this front clip off, radiator off, popping the head, and at least starting, you know, from that level. I know I want to drain the oil from the engine and from the transmission, but I don't know. I gotta think on it. So this is step one. If any of you out there have any idea or have run into this, you know, where you had power literally driving up the driveway and then all of a sudden, bam, it wouldn't even go, wouldn't even move. It just wanted to die out. Please let me know, give me an idea. This is my first tractor and I'm not very in tune with tractors. So guys, I went ahead and took the whole front clip off this tractor and I pulled the fuel injector pump. And I'm gonna pull the actual injectors back off. There's a cap, I guess it's on this side, that screws down in. And I'm not sure if those need to be adjusted. I know when I took mine off, there were about 3 turns. If you turn them all the way in, there were about 3 turns back out. Well, some were 3, some were 2.5. So I'm probably gonna have to find a manual for this thing because I don't know how to set those. I don't know. Maybe some of you have an idea. Another question I would have if anyone's watching this is, so I pulled, you know, the flywheel out, and then I saw on someone's thread that, you know, you have to line up the marks on that with this flywheel. So the question I have, is there a mark on this flywheel? I'll show you the mark on the one that's on the pump, but I'm hoping that there's an actual mark somewhere on this one. I don't know what I've gotten myself into at this point. The other question would be is, to see the mark, am I gonna have to take this whole front housing off to see the mark? Or is the mark gonna be at the very end on one of those teeth? Any ideas would be greatly appreciated. But I'll show you the mark on the other gear. So I have yet to kind of decide how deep to go in this. I really am not wanting to do a complete build. I know when I pulled these injectors out, a ton of dirt fell down into the cylinders. And so I'm halfway entertaining the thought of pulling the head off, cleaning the cylinders, also just being able to see the condition of the cylinders, get a new gasket, put the head back on. But I'm also realizing that nothing, to get to one bolt, you got to take something else off. These are a lot harder to reach bolts than I thought. So I'm going to show you the other part. So here's what I got off. I know there's a diaphragm in here, and I know there's a diaphragm in here, and then two sort of smaller like filter diaphragms on springs. All those parts were heavily rusted for some reason. So I'm hoping to find a kit. And I just want to make a correction. I think somewhere earlier in my video said something about I had all this sort of like metal mesh stuff jammed up in there. That's supposed to be there. So here, right there is a mark. And I hope I can find it on the other gear. Otherwise, oh boy, probably opened up a huge can of worms. And again, guys, if any of you, have these little 3-cylinder diesels, it probably doesn't even matter if it's a 3-cylinder, just any sort of diesel, tractor engine. Have any of you experienced where just absolutely suddenly a loss of power under its own power? I mean, I was driving up the driveway and the motor still idled fine when it was stopped, but it just had absolutely no power to spin the tires, to get the tires to move. I literally had to park it there in the driveway, and I went out and tried it a different day, and then I was able to limp it back up to the barn, but it has absolutely no power. I can't drop the blade, and I couldn't even move snow around. But I don't know if it's a fuel delivery, an error. I wouldn't think so because it's running. Would it be, if it were a clutch problem, then you think that it wouldn't be able to pop a wheelie in the high gear. This was all in the low gear. Loss of power in low gear. Still could pop a wheelie in high gear. So please, guys, if you have any direction that you can send me on this, if any of you have run into this, please let me know.